This crime leaves a huge hole in the community and in the hearts of those who are grieving tonight. Sometimes it's editorial cartoonists who capture the moment best. This one is by Brian Gable in the Globe and Mail. Communities in Nova Scotia are facing not just the terrible loss, but the fact they can't gather together to grieve. Because of the pandemic, funerals are limited to 5 people, immediate family only. Mike Drolet has more on those who were killed and those who are mourning.
Retirement in Nova Scotia was always the dream for Frank Lynchen and Dawn Madsen. They'd bought a home and lived apart as Frank fixed it up, and only recently reunited to enjoy a calmer East Coast lifestyle.
Just to finally, reach her dream, to have it taken away 6 months later, it's horrifying. It's essentially not what she worked her life for.
Dawn had worked for 18 years in food service at a Toronto area retirement home.
She'll always hold a special part in my heart,
where she was remembered for treating and advocating for all the residents as if they were family.
Tell you straight up, whether it's going to be negative or positive, it didn't matter. She was honest, totally honest. There are times that I didn't want her to be that honest, but nonetheless, I do appreciate the fact that she was honest and gave me the feedback.
So much is still unknown as to what happened and how any of these people could be linked to the madness that unfolded over the weekend.
It makes absolutely no sense, and it's extremely tragic.
Chris Williams, now retired from the RCMP, trained to become an officer with Constable Heidi Stevenson in 1995. He says she never changed over the years. She was always that East Coaster with a big heart and a bigger smile. His sadness at the loss of a friend is mixed with the need for answers.
I think we all have questions. First and foremost, beyond the details, I just want to say that my heart goes out to Heidi and to her children. I cannot imagine the loss that they're feeling today.
How can anybody imagine any of it? Joey Weber lived far away from the crime scenes, but fate had him doing an errand for his family, which he valued above all else.
I would regularly see him on my morning drives into City Hall, taking his children to the bus stop, and he always had a big smile and always waved.
The victims came from all walks of life, brought together in a way never thought possible. Mike Drolet, Global News, Toronto.
The Queen has sent a message of condolence to Nova Scotia. She writes that she and Prince Philip are deeply saddened by the appalling events, and she offered words of support for the police officers who she says are selflessly responding to these devastating attacks, and to the emergency services who are supporting those who have been injured and affected. After any incident of mass violence, the question often turns to how those responsible acquired their weapons. Mike Couteur is with me from Ottawa. Mike, this tragedy in Nova Scotia is bringing some legislation back to the forefront.
Well, Dawna, police still haven't said what gun or guns the shooter used to inflict so much damage over the course of nearly 14 hours in Nova Scotia. But that hasn't stopped the federal government from talking about gun control legislation. The Prime Minister has continually said the focus right now is to support the families of those who lost loved ones. In the same breath, Justin Trudeau talks about gun control legislation that his party was ready to introduce before Parliament was suspended due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, we still haven't seen the bill just yet, but it would likely be based on their campaign promise, which included a ban and buyback program on what the government calls assault rifles, giving cities the power to restrict or ban handguns, and red flag laws for people who could be a danger to others.
The legislation on the assault rifle ban was almost ready to go when the Parliament suspended. So I expect that'll be the first measures we bring forward. But of course, as we learn more about this terrible, terrible tragedy in Nova Scotia, we will keep reflecting on ways that we need to help Canadians stay safe.
Now, any new gun laws will have to wait until May 25th at the earliest. That's when Parliament is scheduled to reconvene. The special in-person and virtual meetings of the House of Commons over the next month are only to discuss matters related to COVID-19. Dawna?
All right, Mike Couteur in Ottawa, thanks.